I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's shir. The whole item that was Mashiach to come in person, signed the Beis Medrash, signed the Nashim, so all the many people are listening on the phone or watching. Bruchim Aboim. Tonight we have the covered Havdas once again. The Rabbi Yaakov Shlita, the Yeshiva Darchei Torah for Rockaway, who's mechazik many thousands of Talmidim. That's a big cover that he came to be mechazik oilam divrei service. We'd like to give a big yeshikach to Reb Arye Levine for sponsoring tonight's shir. We'd like to give a big yeshikach to Reb Eli Goldman for sponsoring tonight's shir. We'd like to give a yeshikach to Adam Shame for supporting tonight's shir as a chusser of Shlema for Parental Esther Bas Chava B'Sosha Choli Yisrael. To have the great chusser sponsoring a shir to help support Irgun Shir Torah, call 718-851-8651 or email ist@yeshivanet.com. Now it's my cover to call on the Yeshiva Reb Shlita to speak on good Sholom Bayis is the foundation of great children.
The ladies here can speak directly to the men. Sholom Bayis, you got to be careful then. All right. First of all, Rabbi Bald is here. He was sick. So I have this chus. He says the first year he's gone through many weeks, so I'm thrilled to him. One man could do, I'm going off a topic, you don't mind? How did Tervidas happen, Rabbi said? Tervidas was by far the biggest yeshiva from 1920s until 1970s. Not as a lot of competition, but Tervidas was a huge yeshiva. How did it happen? Huh? Anybody? Morty, Rabbi Melman, no? Rabbi Yamin Wilhelm, no? He started first. Rabbi Yamin Wilhelm decided they need yeshiva in Williamsburg. Nachman Siegel, you went to Tervidas together with me. How did Tervidas happen? Because one man, Rabbi Yamin Wilhelm, came to a bunch of Balabatim, and they said, Rabbi Shlomo Kluger, who was an Einikel, told me the story himself. He said, we got to have a yeshiva. So the Balabatim said, if you get 50 children, 50 children for this year, we'll make 8 full classes. He went around from day to day to day, even Rosh Kippur. They said till after Sukkot, they told him. Till after Sukkot, and he put together 50 kids. He went to Rabbi Yisrael Belsky's grandfather. Rabbi Yisrael himself told me the story. Sholom Bayis will wait, okay? My wife's not here, so it's okay. Anyway, so the kids, he went to him. His name was, his father's, I don't know what the grandfather's name was, a furrier, a wealthy man in Manhattan. And he says, I'm coming here because I want to make a yeshiva. He took out a pen and he wrote him a check for $2,000 in the 19-teens, 17, 18, something around there. That's a tremendous amount of money. So he told him, Rabbi Wilhelm told him, that's not what I want from you. I want you to send your 6-year-old son. His name was Barney. They called him Barney. He came in Beryl. Reb Arye Levine later went to Rodden to learn. I want your son. He gave him his son and $2,000. And this man went around to Yom Kippur. I heard he didn't daven Yom Kippur. And he put together and became Tervidas. We have Rabbi Bald over here. Give a cook. How did that soul start, Rabbi say? Herschel Weber, Yedidi Ahuvi, Reb Herschel Weber, was standing in front of the Polish Shtibel in Flatbush. And a man collapsed in Williamsburg. A man collapsed, and they didn't know what to do. He called zero. He didn't call 911. He called the operator. No one's coming. 45 minutes. That's Eisgegangen. He was nifter, and Reb Herschel Weber this big, and he said, "We can't let this happen." He put together a bunch of Hasidic and Golite who knew nothing. They bought a Red Cross, the first aid book of Red Cross, and they read it. And Hatzalah is now by far the largest ambulance volunteer organization in the whole world. Because one man, Rabbi Bald is here, he should be gesund and stark. He's here now for many, many more healthy years, Mr. Shem. And one man, what he didn't do was incredible. Here comes another one-man show. You see it? Who just walked in over here? Moshe Metzger just walked in over here. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Moshe Metzger, get over here. Isn't that perfect timing? I'm talking now about one man, Bill Tervidas. Where you going? 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 Metzger, sit down. I'm older than you. Sit down. I'm not. I think he's older than me. I'm not sure. So I saw Rabbi Yamin Wilhelm. I'm talking about Rabbi Bald. That's a Bald. I'm talking about him. He made Shemer Shabbos, the whole concept of having minyanim. I'm sorry. One person goes ahead and does it. This is perfect timing. I couldn't ask for a better show than that. Rabbi say, Sholom Bayis. My father's closest Rebbe that in life was a man, Reb Shlomo Hyman, Yeshiva of Tervidas. Reb Shlomo Hyman Le'aleinu did not have any children. They became very, very close friends with my parents. My father came in 1939. They escaped Europe. My father was an American who learned in Mir Yeshiva in Europe. My mother was a Polish citizen. To get out was impossible. It's a long story. I can't go into that right now. They mamish went ahead and they bribed the last embassy that was open, and they got out September 1, the day the war began. I'll tell you, my show you. It's a long, long story. I want to get to that right now. But when they came to America, Reb Shlomo Hyman, my father asked to live in Chavrusa, and they prepared Reb Shlomo Hyman, who was the Maggid Shir, a Chedush Reb Shlomo, today in the yeshiva world is big time. And Reb Shlomo Hyman is the Maggid Shir, and my father came as Chavrusa. They learned together, they prepared Shir together, his Shir. And I couldn't know him, I was born much later. Shlomo Hyman was nifta very young in 1945. But for 5 years, my parents didn't have any children, 4.5 years. Reb Shlomo, we know, never had kids. So they got very, very close. And much in the summers, they went together to Seagate. That was the vacation. They both took a bungalow in Seagate. And that's how my mother became a college teacher. I want to go into that right now. And Seagate, they're very, very close friends. My mother told me a few things. I want to tell you one story about Reb Shlomo. Spoke to a Talmud of his. A Talmud of Reb Shlomo told me that one day the shir was everything. He gave that famous shir with the one or two bachrim only came to the shir in the middle of a huge snowstorm, and they asked him, how could you give a shir? If only 1 or 2 bachrim with such a brand, such a geschmack, how could you do it? You know what he answered? He says, one Talmud, so what? It's the shir. So one time, there was a huge, the yeshiva was on the corner of Taylor Street and Bedford Avenue. The old Masifta was called in Tervidas. And there was a huge explosion not far from there. Mamish, the whole place rocked. This bacher, not a bacher anymore, younger man, he was there. And the place shook, mamish shook. Reb Shlomo, after a few seconds, closed his Gemara. There were 40, 50 guys in the shir. Et vermacht sein Gemara. And he came back 15 minutes later. He gave the greatest lesson in Sholom Bayis that anybody ever gave. And he said, you know we have no children at home. Mamish kin kinder. So what I do, I had to check on my wife. I'm sure the explosion shook her up. I closed the Gemara. I went home to check on my wife, see how she's doing. These bachrim never needed a lesson in Sholom Bayis. As the Rebbe from Achtan Gemara, my mother told me that when they used to get together on Friday night, they used to eat together in the same house. My mother told me that Shlomo Hyman never asked his wife for a glass of tea. Never ever asked her. He would say her name was Fega. I'm quoting my mother's words. Her name was Fega. He'd say, Fegala. Bestame willst du a glass tea? The literature. Bestame willst du a glass tea? You probably want a glass of tea. So she got the message to bring him a glass of tea. To touch his wife? Covered Godel. How he, they're cheretz for. Reb Aharon Kotler, Marvin Schick once told me, he used to go around Reb Aharon Kotler collecting money. He was not a driver. Marvin Schick was the president of RJJ Yeshiva, Chashiva Mensch. He lived there about 4 or 5 years ago. He told me that he used to travel with Reb Aharon all the time. One time Reb Aharon was already not driving, the car was on the way already. Reb Aharon told the driver to turn around. Marvin Schick, Adria. I'm telling you stories I only heard, not Aid MP8. And he went into his house and said goodbye to his wife, Reb Aharon Kotler. Goodbye to his wife. Do we treat our wives the right way? Now, I'm sure you'll say to me, but upstairs, do they treat their men the right way? I don't know, but from outside, I'm speaking to men here really now. And it's such a wichtige Sache to be careful, the sensitivities of a wife. I want to tell you a story now that's been bothering me ever since. There's an organization called Links. It's a very chashuv organization. It's for Yisaimais and for Yisaimim. The Yisaimais part of it is called Links. The Yisaimim part is called Shlomi's Club, named for Shlomi Gross. Remember Shlomi Gross? Okay. So I have this chus of working with them a little bit. They make a major parlor meeting in Lakewood. Lakewood's I'm not knocking Lakewood here now. I'm knocking the people that were there at the meeting. Chas v'shalom, Lakewood, you're at Torah. Pumpadisa, and how many Talmidim Rabbi say? Pumpadisa. No? Anybody know? 6,000. Lakewood has 10,000. Over 10,000. So I'm telling you, my show. So they make a huge parlor meeting. It's a good time to raise money. This year they raised about $400,000. So they have, the last 4 or 5 years, they have another person and myself. I'm a great genius in chinuch. If you didn't know, Morty will tell you. Morty will tell you. But kids, so we have a panel, and Shuli Bessa, who writes, Shuli Bessa, he's the moderator, and people like that. And a lot of people come. I say probably a few hundred men were there. And who was the other person? Reb Kamenetsky, Yeshiva, Philadelphia Yeshiva. And we're both sitting there answering questions on chinuch. And the men are sitting there, a lot of them, not chashanim, all of them, and they're busy with their phones. What are they doing with their phones? Huh? What are they doing with the phones? Very important. The WhatsApps, status. I never knew till a few months ago, pardon me, I go off on tangents, what status is. I'm not asking you to raise your hands. You know what status is, a lot of you. Status is where everybody puts on whatever they want to put on. It's not kosher. It's not sneezdik. There's nothing good about it. Nothing. Only creates Sholom Bayis problems. And it's the hefech of Matoivo Alecha Yaakov B'Shkasecha Yisrael, right? Vashteit Rashi Darton, that their windows were not across each other, their doors were not across each other. Lakewood built the first housing they built in Lakewood was on Forest Avenue. My sister Blumi Stag lived there. They had 2 apartments on each floor. They built it in a way that the doors weren't next to each other, not shut, not windows, that you should never even see who's coming in and who's going out at night. Nothing. That's how I built Lakewood. They built it there. So it says there, it's more than, I think, just the windows and doors weren't facing each other. It means I wasn't supposed to look at you, what's going in your choltup. I don't look at your choltup. Status is the opposite. Status is a breakdown of all sneers in the world. We all know what's going on. We all know exactly when you're eating breakfast, or what type of clothing your daughter's got. The hefech of sneers tells what's going on the other person. So they're all sitting there on their phones. You know what it's like? I didn't know. After this meeting, I decided to find out Vuss's status. And I looked at it. I saw, son, it's not nice. Ladies up there, for you also it's very bad. Ladies are on chats the whole day. Come on. One of the ladies in Yeshiva told me that she's on chats. Very important, the chats. Very important. One lady told me the average lady who has chats is on 25 different chats. Homework chats. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, homework chats. We got to be careful. I made a halacha in our yeshiva that classes have chats. The mother should know what the homework is. Thank you. Well, if you do everything right, I made a halacha. You cannot have it unless the teacher is on, because they used to talk lashon hara and the teacher. If one mother was upset with the teacher, she announced to the whole world the teacher's a lousy teacher. So the halacha in our yeshiva is the teacher has to be on the chat. So that way you won't talk lashon hara. So I found out by one of them, they made a second chat. So I called them in for a meeting right away. I said, Atkan, either you or me. That's it. I don't throw out from yeshiva. I don't like to do that, ever, ever. I don't think we ever threw out a kid from yeshiva. Mol, you have to send the kid away. Good for him. Okay, so you should give bench. Let's chat. All right, one day. There's at least 20 people here that can explain it to you. Don't worry about it. More than 20, maybe 40 or 80 people that are here. Okay. The kid says something up there, and we're up there. Sholom Kamenetsky, Yeshiva, Philadelphia. I left for Rockaway a good hour before the end of the tunnels. I have to be there. I arrived there and had to wait over an hour after I could have eaten already. So it's on my part. It's shtickle serious nefesh, right? I asked him, Shalom. We both arrived 5 minutes before we got onto the program. He came from Philadelphia, which is close, I think. I came from Rockaway, and they served us in the kitchen. Very nice people. The one may hosted it. Very nice people. I think it's what's his name? Zlatowitz's house. Very nice people. They fed us right away. Right away, they started calling us. You got to go outside. And these guys are all sitting. I said, hold on. I want to change the topic. We're talking about chinuch. And I explained that I, Harav Hagoyin, Reb Yaakov ben the Shlita, slept here for 2.5 hours, and finally ate at night. And Harav Hagoyin, Reb Shlomo Kamenetsky Shlita, certainly, and they're going also. And you're on your phones. What are you doing on your phones? Put it away. What are you doing on your phones? You know, it's all Irish gotten stupidities. Then I said to the following, I said to them, how many of you call your mothers once a day? You have a phone in your pocket. You don't call your mother once a day? 5 people raised their hand, at least 150 people were there. 5 people. I said, I don't remember my mother last Sholom. I would go to sleep without talking to her. I would, not only that, I didn't hang up till she hung up on me. I fell asleep. Waiting, she was talking, I fell asleep. She Yanko, I wake up. How can I hang up my mother? There's in this room a few hundred people, and 5, I don't say the word kitrug out of my mouth, chas v'shalom. Is it a little bit, you have a phone in your pocket, and you're busy with it the whole time. We're up here speaking. I said, how could that be? Then I said, how many of you call your wives twice a day? I'm not talking just married. Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, the romance, something a few years after the marriage, the romance a little bit not the way it was before. I think 3 people. I said, once a day. Maybe 10 people raised their hands. Your wife is sitting home a whole day. My bungalow, I'm in a camp. I have like a stickle bungalow trailer. I go there for Shabbos. During the week, I'm here. Mostly 3 weeks, I'm there a little longer. So I have a son, Chaim Eisen, stark with his wife, Rockaway. They stay in my bungalow with all the kids. He's a Rebbe in camp. You know what Rockaway is doing a whole day? She's doing laundry whole day. I forgot already. She's doing laundry all day. She has 7 little kids, and the kids, you put on pajamas, they run outside in the mud, they come back in, you have to change them again and again. Laundry all day. Do we respect our wives? So don't answer me, you have a shiksa, the shiksa does it. I don't want to hear about that. So teach your kids to say thank you to the shiksa, maybe. Or to I like to say, I don't like the shiksa, the non-Jewish woman that's working over there. Why? What our wives are doing first, do we give them credit? Do we give them credit? Just try one day imitating what your wife does in the house. Cooking and baking and doing the homework with the kids. And 3, homework's insane today. You know what goes on in the homework. Whoever invented, say, homework, right? There's only girls. The boys, they don't do it. They don't care. They're not interested, the boys. You can give them 100 pages of homework, they're not touching it. I'm always a goody kid. But the women, I was like, I hear in Brooklyn the same thing. 2-3 hours of homework. How do you do that to a girl? 7th, 8th, 9th grader? It's a mitzvah. Whoever created homework, I hope was a din sadist. Bad person. Hey, what do you do with the homework? The kids cry themselves to sleep at night. So what's the mother doing? She's working with the kids' homework. And what if she has 4 daughters and 4 of them are shvach? She's helping them and she's sitting there. And then the husband walks in, where's my supper? It's not here, chas v'shalom. Right? And she's busy doing a zillion things one night. The stories are very old now. Yeah, I know my kids are, Baruch Hashem, all married, Baruch Hashem. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One night, my wife went out. She didn't trust me correctly. So she put down, I remember, a long piece of paper. Each kid, when they should go to sleep about the same all of them. David was 8. I think Moshe was 6. Avraham was 4. And Tzvi was 2. Okay. John was wake. I found them, put them to sleep, creation them, read them a story. Everything I should do like she does. After about 1 hour of chasing them around the house, I said, guys, if you don't get into bed, I'm telling mommy on you. And I said, Benda, what did you just say? You're telling mommy on you? Because they're busy. That's Sholom Bayis. We're about to show Solomon came to Lakewood. One of the first things he did was to make Seder a little bit shorter and a longer night Seder, so that the men can come home to help out their wives. Shul Birmam, Milacha, greater maspin in the world than Shul Birmam. Shul Birmam was the Rebbe of Rebbes, our Heilige Rebbe. Shul Birmam. The Bach in the light came to me coming home at Seder day at 8 o'clock. I think it was in the mirror they did it like that. So that's why they said, we can't, the wives. So he changed Seder for those guys. He made them leave Yeshiva. He told them to leave Yeshiva a lot earlier. Don't make a master of Shul Birmam. Do we give our wives enough credit? We can't call middle day, see how are you doing, Shepsel, what's happening? Can't we at least do that? Now, are the tightest of the women? Probably there are. I'm a little bothered. Very bothered. I look up because I hear there's women upstairs. I'm a little bothered that our manger block in Farakko is called Reed's Lane. Reed's Lane is whatever. It's not a nice block. The women used to go and push the strollers and talk to their kids. No more. No more. They're like one hand like this, and then they're pushing the thing. One on the phone. Rabbi said, you come home at night, take your phones, and hang them up together with the keys in the front. Don't bring it to the table, chas v'shalom. Don't bring it to the table. Your wife's waiting all day to say hello to you. She made you a beautiful supper. She's taking care of the kids all day long. And they're working today, the women. If they don't work, they can't make ends meet today. You're not? You are going to bring your phone to the table? Our job, the men, is to create the Sholom Bayis. Yeah, as tight as the women can nag and nudge a little bit. You know how it is. Women have their own union, they have a little bit. I'm talking out to the men over here. The women also could learn sometimes that a man comes home, he's had a hard day at work, and, leave him alone, give him some space. Space is something we should give our spouses. We all need a little bit of space sometimes. Okay. So I said to them, so you can't call your wives? for the rest of that meeting, they put away their phones. Rabbi say, Matzai Shabbos, right? Sunday morning, any day, Monday morning. I challenge you to stand up any shul where they don't talk on the phone in the shul, Baruch Hashem. Go stand outside in a car, no one should see you, and see all the men coming out of shul that morning. They're getting up early in the morning, Baruch Hashem, to go daven, and to go to the mikveh and learn the daf. What's going on the first thing they do coming out of shul after davening? Take out their phones. Stand by shul. Stand. I did it twice. Stand. What's on the phone there? What do you, Mashiach came? He's not coming through a phone. He's like, I'll never blow the shayfa, we'll hear it over here. And they're all, what are you looking for on the phone? What are you looking for on the phone? I'm asking you a question. What are you looking for? Very important latest news on status and stam? Our homes have to be Kodesh Kodeshim, but I don't want to go into technology right now. But I want to go into the fact that we have to treat our wives. I don't think I ever saw my father and my mother arguing. Did they disagree? Sure they disagreed. It has to be in a marriage. You're going to disagree. Of course there'll be time for disagreements. Avada. But argue in front of the kids? Never. If my mother was much softer than my father, not like me, right? My father will give us a patchel, what he'd give us once in a while. My mother, by the way, she knows an amazing thing. She, after my father was nifta, there were still young kids in the house. My mother never, ever gave us a patch. Never. She never, ever, ever screamed at us, my mother. It's a woman who lost her entire family, kamat, entire parents, Holocaust, and was an almana long, and then she was married. Never yelled at us. She'd say, Yankel, I'm disappointed in you. Maybe 9 times a day she'd say it to me. She'd say, Yankel, I'm disappointed in you. We have to create a ruach in the house of niceties. Well, you have a kid. The whole world today, they say everything comes ADHD. All the questions I get now, ADHD. Kids are wild a little bit, okay. But our job is to make sure that there's a nice ruach in the shtub, especially to our wives. Especially to be nice to our wives. That's Sholom Bayis. But we get into petty arguments, petty silliness. And then I want to go at another topic now. I only know a few friends that I have over here. I don't know the rest of the people in their marriages, I don't know. And parental alienation. Where kids stop talking to their parents. In my yeshiva, it's a big yeshiva. I heard a lot of them, so the percentage is small. I know of 10 families that don't talk to either one or both sets of grandparents. And by the way, the rave of these 10 was started over money, fights over money. You don't talk to, I don't care. And psychologists who they're the ones giving the eitzah here now. You gotta go to a rav, a goyin, a dar to be able to stop. Kibbud avayim, the mitzvah, tear it out of the Sefer Torah. Kibbud avayim, to tear out that mitzvah from the Torah, you gotta be a goyin oilam. You need Rav Yoshev or Moshe. Not a psychologist that says, stop talking to them. I'm very close friends with a lot of psychologists. A lot of them, they're wonderful. But there are some come along, no, just don't talk to your parents. Next thing is, don't talk to your wife. You're upset at her, you're angry at her, don't talk to her for a few days. That's the way you build a shein shtub. A shtub for our parents, that's the way you build a house. And then we have to pick up the pieces afterwards. Chas v'sholom. I don't mean anybody here, chas v'sholom. But how careful we have to be, with the covet of our wives. The Gemara tells us that there was a time, he traveled for 6 months each way, and he came back traveled each way, he was home for 1 day. What does that mean? These Gemaras are hard to understand. Reb Akiva, the Heilige Reb Akiva traveled, was away from home 12, 24 years. We don't understand these Gemaras. They're beyond our understanding. Beyond. But one tear, and the man died right away, because his wife caused a tear to his wife. I'm not saying you have seen in the house certain things, and women are a little too sensitive sometimes to women. They get a little bit insulted quicker. I understand. So it's our job. We're sitting here in a room here, if I say. Michiel Per once told me that he gave a class on Sholom Bayis in his yeshiva. So his wife said to him, you at Sholom Bayis? So I give a class on Sholom Bayis in yeshiva to the young lad every 2 weeks. So one of the young lad once said to me privately, maybe you give the same class to our wives. They need it also. I'm sure they do. But so what? So what? I grew up like that. I grew up like that. You see the Darchei, one time I'm going to a dinner in Manhattan. was tiramisu dinner, that good dinner in the Hilton Hotel. I'm walking along, and there's Reb Dovid Feinstein with his wife later in their lives, and he's helping her push the, whatever you call it, a walker. And they're walking, you see the two of them, they're cheretz for each other. So, of course, I didn't walk ahead, by the way. I have a mishigas. When I see someone walking slow, I'm getting old now. Going slow, I don't pass them. Because what is he thinking now? I don't pass them. One of the Rebbe Yeshiva gave me a hard time. Anaya chumrah. I said, chumrah is in halachas benon lamokim. Benon mechaver, benon lishtay. Mi machme forever, Rabbi say. So I never walked behind until I read, by the way, this Rebbe gave me a hard time. I saw in the biography of the Chazanish, I try to read these things in the summer. I saw there once that one of the professors of Hebrew University, in the 1940s, before there was a Medina yet, professor of Hebrew University, heard there's a man in the Chazanish, he wants to see who he is. He came, he knocked on the door, they said, Chazanish just went for his walk. And he says, that the man? Yeah. He starts walking, and the Chazanish was not taking a real walk. Does he walk that slow? And I said, no. He was walking like this. So yes, somebody there. He's taking a walk. So why is he walking so slow? He could walk faster. He didn't see there's an old man in front of him. He won't piss him. He won't piss him. That's it, Chazanish. Chazanish won't piss him. Al derech eretz. Al derech eretz. So you're talking about what it means. What was I? Somebody else wanted to bring out a point. Anyways, all right, whatever. Not important. Anyways, the derech eretz. And when it comes to a wife, Rabbi say, how careful you have to be with their irrigation, their feelings. Maybe they're wrong sometimes, so what? Our job, Rabbi say, our job is to realize the Kodesh Kodeshim of our mishpachas. It's all that. So back to Reb Dovid Feinstein for a minute. So I went over to him and I said, can I ask a taiva for the Rosh Yeshiva? I didn't have a camera. I said to him, I got to get a camera. Could I take a picture of you and the Rebbetzin together? He laughed at David Feinstein. He said, David, the Edelkeit, the Anivus, the humbleness, come on. Whoever knew him, the Tzaddik Yisai Dailam. So I got a camera, I took a picture. I give my vad on Sholom Bayis on Thursdays. You know, I did that week. I enlarged that picture. I laid it down on the table. The young light came in, the Kyle guys. I said, today we're not having a vad. I want you to look at this picture. I want you to look how Reb Dovid is bent over and helping up push the walker. Look, Reb Dovid Feinstein, God Ladar, Paisik Adar. Look how he's pushing the wagon over there. That was the biggest Sholom Bayis drush I can give. I'll tell you, the way he's walking. Havok Yisrael. I lived in Flatbush. I had shaykhs with the beginning of Atzola in Flatbush, a little bit. My number was F5, Rabbi say. That's chashiv. Don't know any Atzola here? No F? No? Today numbers are 190, 195 or something. No, I was F5. Still had that number. I couldn't have a job. I shouldn't be Rosh Yeshiva. But Rabbi Yaakov used to stay the last few years of his life by Reb Avram, his son Reb Avram. Reb Avram was a tzaddik l'vracha. And his Rebbetzin wasn't feeling well. They all knew Rabbi Yaakov, they got to get Benda around the corner. He lived on Reb Zelig Epstein's block on East 10th, between, I think, J and K, I and J and K, I think. He lived on the block, and I lived on East 8th, and then I came running over there. That's all the guys were there already. Rabbi Yaakov is walking his wife out. She's on the bed to the ambulance. He's holding her hand the entire time, but it's not good. I know what the first name is, I don't want to say it. It's not good. I'll say Elki. Elkala, it'll be good, Elkala. And he's holding her hand. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, God Ladar, is walking with his wife, pulling her out of hand. Upshot romance, which is a mitzvah to walk with your wife hand in hand. The romance is not a mitzvah, not in public. Everybody says it's not for now. He's holding her hand because it's his wife going to the hospital. They made up, they'll get a guy to come to me. The report, I ran. When I heard the report was very good, I ran to Rabbi Yaakov and I told him he's so relieved. Yaakov Kamenetsky, how he spoke to his wife, the derech eretz to his wife. We're young people, generally say young people. Even those of you who are 65 or 70 years old over here, you're young people. So what? You got to work on your marriage. I tell my wife all the time, we speak about it. I'm married B'Chashem Hashem B'li Ayin Hara 54 years. I hope many more years. B'li Ayin Hara. And I said to my wife, I said to my Talmidim in Yeshiva, I'm still working on my marriage. What does that mean? It means that whatever it is. Reb Aharon Leib, Zechat Tzaddik Livracha, used to say to young light, the chassanim that came into him. Reb Aharon Leib used to say the following for a bracha, and he used to give them advice, and he'd say the same thing to all young light. I have 3 pieces of advice for you. Be mevater to her, and be mevater to her, and be mevater to her. Reb Arye Levine was an Araman. Big Araman, he had mamish nothing. The night he got married, Reb Arye Levine, to his Rebbetzin, the Tzaddik B'Shalayim, Reb Arye Levine, when he got married, went into the yichud room. The vice says the minhag then also was to give a gift to the wife. Today, certainly we do it. Today, they haven't heard now. When the week you can't see the colleague, 7 gifts, 7 days. I didn't mind all these people. Is it true? 7 gifts, 7 days? It's true. Bekitza, so Rabbi Levine walks into the room and he tells his new wife now, he tells her, I feel bad. I know the minhag olam is to buy a gift. It's the right thing. I don't have any money. So she said to him, I also wanted to buy you a gift. I didn't know that was minhag that the woman with the husband would gift also. But he said to her, don't worry, I'm giving you the biggest gift. I'll always be, Reb Arye Levine, I'll always be mavata to you. Reb Arye Levine says this to his wife the night of the chasana. And she said to him, I saw in the biography, and she said to him, I have the same problem. I mean, I want to tell you, I'll always be mavata to you. You know, Reb Arye Levine's children, I knew one of them, married Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv married, mishpacha, his sister, his daughter, his wife, his sister, Rabbi Yashiv's sister. Talk about tzaddikim, she said, I'm mivata to you. Is it hard to be mivata? Not hard at all. Not hard at all. Instead of lawyers and doctors and rabbanim and so on and so forth and fights, that's our job, Rabbi say. Be mivata. Our Gedolei Yisrael showed us. This chusik went to Moshe's house many times. You know, I had somebody's farm, by the way, this is Agav. He had a room that he used to learn in. I never found him learning, always had him with a pen. Writing something, I never saw him. I asked, he cited it, that's what he was. He wrote Chiddush, that's what he had till today, Svarim coming out. He was mevatel daita completely. He once told somebody that he needs to get, he used to buy for his wife every week, she liked reading the Morgen Journal, Yiddish paper. He would go down to the store to buy the Morgen Journal for his wife. And he had to get money from her. He never had money in his pocket. What did he need money for? Stockers, he had money in his pocket, he about stockers. He was the edelst, the nicest person in the world. The nicest. Needed some. I have no problem. He said once to a younger man. The younger man was complaining that my wife gives me an allowance. The real story is not a pashtazach. So this Moshe, I heard Eid Ria by the story. So the younger man was complaining. It's not the way it should be. She takes care of the money and I have to get. They went to Moshe. So Moshe said, "To the shan my ganze Leben I do this. I have to explain to my wife." So she said to him, Moshe, she said to him, come on, as I left me this. Now, young man should have his own money. She told Moshe he was a meeting together with Moshe and his Rebbetzin. But he had no problem. Had no problem. He can't speak anymore. How the Chafetz Chaim treated his wife. So we're young light, whatever you are, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 90s. So what? They're Kachei Kadeshim. So you say to me, the women have problems too? Sure they do. I work with boys. That's my job. The women should be the same way. Be mavata. Realize when your husband comes home from a long, long, tiring day. Realize what it's like to go to work and have your boss scream at you, whatever you're going through over there. It's not Pasha coming home a long day at work. They have a long day also. They're doing a zillion things they're doing. Carpools alone could drive somebody crazy. Carpools? Goes on carpools. I remember I used to be in Brooklyn before I moved. My kids went to Mir Yeshiva. I didn't have many kids yet then. It took a half hour to do a carpool with 3 kids in your neighborhood. Today, forget about it. It's a nervous attack if you come to Flatbush to drive. It's impossible. By us, it's a little better, but still. So I'm such a covet I have. So one lady happened to once. I used to go outside by the carpools. Now, Hashem, I graduated in the early years. I saw a lady there for the 4th time in the yeshiva that day. I said to Mrs. Say her name, Lipschitz. I said, you're here the 4th time already. Are you kidding? She says, Hashem gave me kids. I'm so thrilled. I could bring them to yeshiva. There are people out there who don't have kids in yeshiva. You know how kids are? One nicer than the other. Attitude like that. But if the women kvetch about it and complain about it, the carpools are impossible. and yet you have to tell the whole world on your, pardon me, idiotic chats that you have. The whole world has to know exactly when you went to the bathroom. Excuse me? I use that as a guzma. Maybe it's not a guzma. I don't know. The whole world has to know all these sachen from these chats. 25 chats? An average woman's on 25 chats? What did you do without this years ago? What did you do? I'll tell you what we did without Waze. We had maps in the car. Imagine. There was no Waze. We had a map in the car, and we got lost, Tucker. In those days, the gas station attendant spoke English. So it's a little bit easier. But whatever, you had a map in the car. I remember a certain person in my family, he used to tell me, go here, go right, go left, go here. No, I want to look at map myself. He held himself for a map maven. In those days, there were people who map maven. But they managed without Waze. But that's not, forget it. There's Waze today, I understand it. Okay? There's phones, I understand it. Not to spend your time on Narishkeiten. Chas v'sholom. Put that phone away when you come home, Rabbi say. Give it to your wife, the time. Give the time to your wife. And the women, when they have their kids, you know what it means? I remember my mother's songs to me. Can I sing for a minute? Every night. My mother was a heilige Frau. She was the first Rabbi Yaakov teacher in America. She lost her whole family. And she gave us Ava and Ava and Ava. She was my best friend. When my father was nipped, I came back from Philadelphia, learning Philadelphia Yeshiva for 1 month. My shwager Reb Chaim Epstein said to me, Yaakov, you got to be home with your mother. She's always sick, my mother. A lot of illnesses over the years, a lot of illnesses. I had the schus of being a roommate for about 6.5 years. Very, very close, Baruch Hashem. She was a holy woman. I'm telling you, not pashut. People came to her for brachas. And at night, when we went to sleep at night, I lilu, Schlaf schein mein Teier, Yankele, mach schein so, deine Eigelach, I lilu. I know, I'm not a soloist, I'm not a singer, but I remember that song. How many years ago that was? A long time ago. My mother sang to me every night, Aili Luli Lu. And she read to us, meant to us, our wives, our heilige wives, and our heilige parents. If you're out there, somewhere out there, hear me, if one couple hears this, and you don't talk to your families, can't say the Einish Chas v'Shalom. You don't talk to your parents because you had to fight with them. And let's say they're wrong 100%. Too bad. Always have you like coming about their mother-in-laws and their father-in-laws, this and that, and the women coming about their father and their mother-in-laws. You swallow. You swallow. And you survive. Machlekes is better. I prepared you to talk about machlekes here. I'm running out of time. But the idea is how to be nice. How to be nice to people. What it means to be nice to people. Reb Shlomo Hyman was our, we all heard Reb Chaim Eizech, Tzadik Levracha. How he's in Shtub, Reb Chaim Eizech. My mother was very close to Reb Chaim Eizech's family. Reb Shlomo Kluger, the great Reb Shlomo Kluger, the first yeshiva in New York. I think was named Reb Shlomo Kluger on the east side. Shlomo Kluger. Svarim he has. You got to see the svarim that he had. And he was a guy. They wrote tshuvas to the guy in him. They wrote tshuvas. You look it up, Rabbi say. I don't know where it is exactly. And the tshuva he writes there, be meichel me, I didn't answer you for 6 weeks. I didn't answer you for 6 weeks. He writes to something, but I want to tell you something. He says, my wife, who wasn't well for the last 6 weeks, right, she slept in the room where all the svarim are. Shlomo Kluger. She slept there. Someone was helping out over there. He went out to help out. But I'm going to go in there. I couldn't go in there. And Chassanim disturb her. So I couldn't go in there for 6 weeks to get a sefer. Woo! Shlomo Kluger, yeah? Is it Shlomo Krasnow is a parent now Yeshiva. He takes care of him. Me'olam, he told me, he leaves his clothing outside his bedroom door. Every night, for years and years, because he gets up very, very early in the morning. He runs Daf Yomi, I think at 5:30, down to 6:30 minyan. So his wife to get up. What do you do? I always run with alarm clocks. I have to have 3 alarm clocks. I'm so exhausted always. But my wife is still sleeping sometimes. She gets up also very early. She teaches. But he told me that he never, ever leaves his clothing outside. We have a room outside so that he doesn't have to wake up his wife when he gets dressed in the morning. There's so many ways to show your wife that you love her. And love doesn't mean I'll press the love, Rabbi say. Love means that you appreciate her. And she's gewaldig. And you're taking care of her. That's Sholom Bayis. And if you're 70 years old saying, I'm too late. No, chas v'shalom. Come home and turn over a leaf. She might piss out your wife. But whatever it is, try. And look at the examples I've given you today of people. He's a wonderful balapatish person, Shlomo Krasnow. But you know what? His kids are all Mitziyanim. When you grow up in a peaceful home, different world. When the Darchei Eretz for the fathers and the mothers, a different world. So Shlomo Kluger couldn't walk into a room for 6 weeks. He writes in his own pen. He couldn't go into 6 weeks because he might wake up his wife. But she needed to have the sleep. There's so many other examples to give. I understand there's good reason sometimes to have problems. I understand that. Something either the man or the woman is not well emotionally. What's with the Gemara with Dama ben Asina? What are you going to do with that Gemara, Rabbi say? Kibbud Av. For those people that are mamish, that are not talking to their parents. Those parents that are doing alienation of parents. The Gemara Kedushin tells us a story with Dama ben Asina. Dama ben Asina. I want to tell you a pshat. Reb Zevi Chenk and myself with Charusas. We were learning this Gemara together. He said and I said we came up with a pshat. What happened over there in the Gemara in the Kedushin? Famous Gemara. Suru, they asked him, Ad, Hayachad, Kibbud Avim. Ulai, think another man Yama. Go see how far Kibbud Avim goes. You want to see how? Go and see the guy, Dama ben Asina. Dama, the son of Asina. And they went there. What happened? The Chachamim in the base of the Hamikdash, they lost one of the precious jewels, either the Ephod or for the Urim Betumim or the Chayshan. They lost, whatever they lost. They heard he has it. They can't do the Avodah if one thing is missing, Rabbi say. One item is missing of the Kalim, so you can't do the Avodah. They went and they knocked on his door. They said, we heard this, we'll give you whatever you want for it. Papa sleeping. Like his Rashi entices where the key was. The key to the safe, either under his feet or under his pillow. Mara says pillow, Ishami I think it's his feet. I can't wake him up. They offered him more money. He said, I feel you give me all the money in the world, I won't take. Shana Acheres, next year, he was like to have a para aduma born to him, which was worth a lot more money. And they came to him and he said, whatever you wanted to pay me for the first diamond, that's what I'm taking. I'm sure the Eibishter, there was a guy, that God gave me this para aduma only for one reason. So what the Gemara said, now let's try to figure out Moshe Feinstein this kasha. What do you think happened when the Sina woke up? Well, when the Sina woke up, Papa, guess what? The rabbis were here. They offered me $6 million for the stone. I said, Papa's sleeping. Papa's sleeping. Imagine the story, Papa's sleeping. I'm shook at her. I could have retired to Boca Raton for the rest of my life. What are you talking about, Miami Beach? Where I could have gone. So what's Pshat? Moshe Stakasha. Moshe says, interesting teretz, he says probably he wasn't a well person in the Sina. But the Gemara tells us later that Dama was sitting in the Gedolim of Rome, and his mother walked in and she spit at him. She took off his hat, banged him off, and she was mavaza him, and then her own tichel fell down. So Dama goes and picks it up and says, Mama, here. So Moshe says, probably, obviously the mother was not a well woman, so he must have not been well. Moshe's teretz. Who am I to say different than Moshe? Maybe I have a different teretz. And I did some homework. Moshe Brown was masking. There's nowhere in Shas, it's come out nowhere that the guy's name is mentioned, Rabbi say. You have it in a few places, the guy's name. Dama. Dama with Ben the Sina doesn't exist in Kol Shas. There's no place in Shas that's the man's name and it's fine if he's a guy. I think the Sina was, the hero was the Sina. The hero was the Sina. He told his kids the mitzvah of Kibbud Avim. You don't wake up a parent. And Dama knew that when his father wakes up, he'll be thrilled. Because he taught them, be careful. Don't ever wake up a parent. And he knew that if he tells his father, look, Papa, I didn't wake you up. His father was thrilled about it. That's a derech you have to have for a father or for a mother. So today you have people that aren't talking to their parents, and their children are going to grow up crippled. They have grandparents living in town, and they're not allowed to talk to them. What do you think they're going to be one day? You have tainas? Tough luck. Tough luck. David just says, it doesn't matter. The guy is better than you. Dama ben Asina is better than you. Alienation of parents, Rachmana litzlan. My father was an only child. My father was an only child. My Zayda, my Baba, had one little girl born was nifter at 2 years old. They lived in the city of Slanim. My Zayda was the Menal of the Litvish Yeshiva, Reb Shapsi Yogel's Yeshiva. There were two major chassidus, of course, the Weinberg Mishpacha, and there was them. They waited 11 years for my father. How do I know all this? Because my father was nifta. My Zayda outlived my father by a lot, and he came to live with us, my Zayda, to help my mother raise the children. Some of us were teenagers already, but he came. I'll never forget my Zayda. He was the when he spoke. We spoke about the Chavetz Chaim. He learned in Radin. He didn't say Chavetz Chaim. He would say, Rabbi Shlomo Kluger Zagen. Rabbi Shlomo used to say, could the Chavetz Chaim conduct himself like that? Rabbi Shlomo used to say. So my father was nifta, very, very young, right? And my Zayda, right? My Zayda, his Feinkeit and Zayda, but my father is Kibbutz David. He lived in Eretz Yisrael. And every time, we didn't have a camera, Rabbi say. I'm not picking Baba Mises to you. A guy would come every 6 weeks to the house with a box, right? With a curtain on it, with a long wire, what do you call it, and a bulb. And he'd squeeze it, and if the picture was nice, off it went to Eretz Yisrael. We never had nice pictures of our family. They went straight to Eretz Yisrael. When I say they came to America to live with us, he brought a box of pictures. Oh, my father taught us what it means. One day I come home. Those who are alienated from their parents, I come home one day. And my father has a big box on the table, the dining room table. And he's packing toilet paper. Now you can say maybe he had no other place to pack it. Packed on the table. I think he wanted us to see that Kibbutz Av aim is even with toilet paper. And we said to him, Daddy, what's going on? We said to him, Daddy at home, Daddy, what's going on? He wanted to speak Yiddish, and we know Yiddish well, because for a long time we only spoke Yiddish at home. He says, the toilet paper in Eretz Yisrael is rough. In those days, rough toilet paper. It's hard for the Zayda. So I'm sending him toilet paper for the year. So what's in my head right now? What's in the head of the kids who don't talk to their parents? The ones who see that the parents don't talk to the grandparents? Fight! Machlaikis! Arguments! And I remember toilet paper. That my Zayda needed toilet paper, and my father packed it up lovingly to him. I say my father was 48 years old. My Zayda came 3 times. Once I don't remember, he was my sandik. Came to Eretz Yisrael. I can't remember that, which I tell you. The second time he came, and the third time he came. In 1961, he came. I was a boy, little boy. He came to the wedding of my sister, Esther Epstein, Allah Shalom, my Reb Chaim Epstein. My father, for a month at least, was dancing the Zayda Kumt, the Zayda Kumt, the Zayda Kumt. We learned. It was unbelievable. The Zayda Kumt. We had old second-hand furniture. By then it was third-hand and fourth-hand. We had nothing. We had nothing. We wore only hand-me-downs. Our whole life. We got a suit. Don't feel bad for me. I'm okay today. Nice kapata. Anyways, only thing we got was we had a cousin that had a suit factory in the East Side, and that cousin, right, would get us. We got free suits. My mother also bought us shoes. Shoes, she says, I can't give from other people. Everything. I still remember in 8th grade, I was a kid. Let's call him Goldstein. Not a boy. I was wearing a shirt from Goldstein. And the kid was a wise guy, and he sees the label coming out. Those days, not like today, you know, the Marcus. And it said, and it says, Yaakov, you changed your name to Goldstein. Ooh, I had to control everything, not to give him a right-hand uppercut. He's making fun of me, right? Very nice, no? Very nice. But you know what? And we survived, because we saw the Ahava in our home. For 4 weeks on the day, my Zayda's arriving with an Air France flight. And he was around those days, KLM, or he came either on KLM or in Air France. We went to the airport hours early. We had to get dressed up in our Shabbos clothing. We're not going to the airport in our sneakers. The Zayda comes. And then we go upstairs to the observation deck before the terrorism began. You put a dime in, right? And you went upstairs. And every plane that's coming around, my father would say, oh, the Zayda comes. That's what we remember. And we were early. Finally, my Zayda's plane comes in. And he's coming off the plane. Of course, the one you're waiting for, of course, there was no tunnels here, whatever you have. It was a staircase out like every Eretz Yisrael. And the last guy you're waiting for is, of course, you're a person. My father saw my Zayda. I'll tell you my Shahaya. Someone camped many years ago. My father saw my Zayda. The propeller jets in those days, the noise today. Papa! He's screaming, Papa! He's not going to hear you. We ducked. We don't know this man. He's like, we don't know him. We ducked. We picked our heads up. He's screaming, Papa, Papa, Papa. And my Zayda heard him. And I saw the contact, eye contact, and the smile on both of them. I get emotional now when I'm thinking about it. 1961 was a long time ago. Because he wanted to give the nachas to my Zayda. And then when inside there was a big glass around the customs, he was banging with his keys on the glass over there. He could wave to his Zayda to his father again. Alienation. We saw ahava. We saw father-child relationship. That's what we saw. We saw the ahava. And nothing was going on in the house, whatever the Zayda. Of course, they moved out of their bedroom. My parents moved out of their bedroom for five or 6 weeks. The Zayda, with his second wife, was there, with Tante Ethel. We called her Tante Ethel. They were there. And whenever he had to go job, father's Menachem Av Tervidas, he had to go do his job, but he danced around them nonstop. One day, my father was never sick. He had a heart attack, never died very young. Suddenly, I go into his room. He had 100 and something, 2 or 3 fever, flu, was whatever it was. And outside was a massive snowstorm. Massive. I'm not being megazim. And my father's getting dressed with a sweater. My father didn't wear a sweater, didn't wear coats, nothing. I said, Daddy, where are you going? He said, I'm going to mail the letter. He wrote 4 letters every week to the Zayda. We had to write 1 a week. We had to write 1 a week. The blue airmail letters. Wasn't enough to write on the letter. You had to write on both flaps. And we'd say, Daddy, what should we write about? What you ate for breakfast, lunch, and supper? Who's your Rebbe? Who's your teacher? What'd you do? What'd you play ball? Who won? Who lost? He wanted my Zayda to feel like Yosef Atzadik knew everything about the kids. He wanted him to feel everything. That was his kibbutz av. He's getting dressed. I said, I'll mail on the corner of Marcy Avenue and U Street. There was a mailbox. I'll mail the letter. He says, Yaakov, I want you to hear something. I have 1 mitzvah of kibbutz av. I say this at Israel. 1 mitzvah. To write him a letter and to mail it. I'm mailing it myself. He was mamish weak. He trudged down in the snowstorm. Came back home and fell plopped right into bed. Alienation. What derech eretz. What it means a father. We all, Baruch Hashem, many of us. I had a grandfather. My friends in Tervidas had no grandparents, Rabbi say. No one had grandparents. 35 kids in my class, 35 kids. You could have been 140 grandparents, right? There were 10 altogether from a couple of families. My father was an American. My Zayd in World War I went to America. So alienation. You have a wife at home, Baruch Hashem. You had a wife, derech eretz. My father's derech eretz to my mother. Stands in front of me till today. Till today, what it means derech eretz for a wife, derech eretz for your parents. There's a lot more you could talk about over here. We'll leave it with Hashem. But the point is that we're sitting here, Baruch Hashem. They told me to stop at 5:2 for my whatever it is. I will. Baruch. We should be makabel on ourselves to go and do something. I'm sitting on a plane coming back from Eretz Yisrael. One of the Gedolei Adar who's living today should be gesund and stark for many years to come. Trust me, one of the Gedolei Adar. And I have a minute when I go to Eretz Yisrael. I have to buy my wife a gift. Most of the time, I don't have time. So you take out the book there, what do you call it, the duty-free book. I find some shmatiri, whatever, and I buy her a gift. They tell you it's cheaper, baloney, it's much more expensive. And I buy her a gift. So this Gadol Adar is sitting next to me. He says, Yankel, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I'm buying a gift. Give me. I got to buy my wife a gift also. I'm not telling you what he bought. He bought something very personal. I'm telling you, one of Gedolei Adar. Of course. So what? He spoke Reb Yaakov before, he spoke Reb Moshe before, he spoke Reb Pam. Reb Pam's derech eretz. Yes, the Tervidas Talmidim. How he treated his wife. Like she was the Gadol Adar, he treated her. Imagine, that's our job, Rabbi say. To walk out of here today, let's do something. Having a man in the Yeshiva who told me once, his wife likes a certain flavor of Snapple. But they don't sell it. Most of the flavors they sell, peach and this and that. So wherever he travels, and he's a working guy, wherever they sell, he goes in and says, do you have this and this flavor? And he brings it home for his wife. That's a chashav azach. You can be mekayim kibbud your wife with Snapple, Rabbi say. Anything. This is what she likes, I'll do it. Let's do something for our wives tonight. There's people sitting there maybe don't have wives anymore, I'm sorry. We'll see women up there who don't have husbands. I'm sorry. I lived with that my whole life. You'll live and be well and be zechet and nachas, everything in your family should go wonderfully. If you have an opportunity still, use it, be well. A good show, everybody. Amen.
Shem Egen Shir Torah Moses Boston like Rabbi Yeshakach to the Yeshiva Bender for the inspiring Rosh. Like to be Yashikayach, Tarbiyanis Samola for the support for tonight's Shir Lili Nishmas Oviv, Rav Zev Shamshon, Ben Marina, Rav Rafael, all of our Sholom. The Yurtzai was today to Nishmas Surah B'Tzorah Chaim. Like to be Yashikayach to Rabbi Parnas, and Rabbi Golban for sponsoring tonight's Shir. Like to be Yashikayach to Elim Shem for support for tonight's Shir. Zaslusa for Shlema, for Parental Esther Bas Chava B'Soy Shachel Yisrael. Have the great Shlita sponsoring a Shir. Or to support Irgun Shir Torah, call 718-851-8651 or email ist@yeshivanet.com. Chananya ben Akashia Omer, Rotz HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakas Es Yisrael, Fikir Cheben Am Torah Mitzvah Shenem Adonai Chofetz Aman Tzidke Yagdol Tervidas.